What's up, everybody? You feel this beat right here? Here we go. Hey! We about to stamp this out. So if you feel me, come on.
Hi everybody, it's Cindy here from Stampin' Chick Creations, back with another fun video. So a couple weeks ago I posted a picture of something that kind of looked like a blob, and I got a lot of feedback on it. So I thought I would do a video on it, and I don't normally do this. Normally, if it's a club project or a class project, I don't generally do a video on it. But this one is a really cool technique that I am so excited to share with you. So I just want to take a second and show you what it is and how you can do it. All right, so a couple things you're going to need for this. You're going to need a little container. I have a glass container I generally use, but for the technique class, I actually purchased these at the Dollar Tree. I think there's like 12 in a package for like $1.50. They're little, I think like they call them appetizer trays or something, but they're just plastic and they're really, really great for this. But any glass dish would work, or container, that kind of thing. The other thing you need is 99% alcohol. Now you have to have 99%. You can't have anything less than 99% because this technique will not work. So this, I've had this forever and a day. You need very little of it. And I think this is just something we tend to have around our house anyway. So not that you have to rush it and go buy it, but if you do, it's very inexpensive. The other thing you do need is our aqua painters or our water painters. Now the old style works just fine. That's actually what we used in class. So these ones actually come in a 3-pack. So there's a very, very wide brush on this one. This one has a thinner brush, and this one has the wider brush. So these you actually fill with water. You can fill with alcohol and bleach and all sorts of things, but I generally keep mine filled with water. But for this one, you actually don't need to fill it with anything. You actually just need the brush. So you need that. And then you're going to need some blends, and you have to have alcohol blends. You cannot do this with your Stampin' Write markers. It actually has to have the blends. So you have to have the alcohol blends with the alcohol liquid. Okay. All right, let's get started. I'll show you when we're done the cards that I have done. So I'm going to make 3. So this one I'm using Bubble Bath as my base. I just dropped something. I'm not sure what. Hope it's not something I need. Bubble Bath base. You do need white cardstock for this. And you're going to need vellum. Okay, so you are going to need a piece of vellum. This is the vellum cardstock. And you're definitely going to need a piece of white. Okay. Just want to make sure that's actually cut the right. I might trim these down just a hair. So just because that measurement is a little bit off, but the rest of them, my card fronts when I do this is generally just 4 by 5 1/4. For some reason, these ones are a little bit off. So we'll just put these into proportion. There we go. Okay. And that's just me. That's not going to affect the way we do this technique. All right. So what do you need to know? You need to pour your alcohol into your container. And I tell people with this, you don't need a lot. The alcohol will evaporate though. So just be aware. So for this one, I'm going to actually just grab, it works much better with brighter colors. So your like dark colors of whatever you choose. Okay. So I'm just going to randomly pick 3 colors here and see how we make out. So I did try this with Bubble Bath. Bubble Bath you cannot actually see. So that's why you want to use brighter type colors. So if you're using the light and the dark, usually use the dark generally. Okay, so this is not really that big of a, it's not that hard of a technique. Excuse me. So I'm going to take, excuse me, my paintbrush end, and I'm just going to randomly color. Now, some of the ladies in class were doing designs and just kind of really experimenting, and it kind of was cool to see how theirs turned out. So do take some time and experiment for sure. So the really important thing here is that you don't want your markers to touch. So you want to get close, but don't let your markers, the two colors, touch anywhere. Because otherwise what will happen is that you will end up with a very muddled type of a look. So, and again, you do not have to fill your entire sheet. Just kind of filling in most of it. Now, you will notice that what will happen is as we put the alcohol down, your colors will spread. And the really cool thing about this is that after this dries, you can go back and add more. Okay, so that's pretty much what I need. So now I'm just going to take my brush and I'm going to put it, actually I want either a paper towel or Kleenex or something beside you. I just have Kleenex beside me, so that's what I'm using. So I'm going to put this right into my alcohol, and I'm going to start with one color, and I'm just going to kind of dabble. Now this brush might be actually a little bit too fine for what I want. So you want to be very generous. I'm going to switch brushes. You want to be very generous with your alcohol that you're putting on. So I think I did the darker purple first, right? So you can see I'm just kind of tapping. You should clean off your brush in between every time going into the alcohol. I have a really hard time remembering to do that. Don't ask me why, but I do. So that's where you want the blotter cloth beside you. Now, I started with this one because I feel like this color combination will be one of the ones that I like the least. So what I'm doing is I'm not really worrying too much about covering the entire thing, because as this continues to take effect, it's going to continue to spread. So right now it doesn't look like much, but you can continue to see it spreading and doing some pretty cool stuff. So now the really important thing here again is don't mix your colors, and oops, like that. And be sure that you are being very generous with your alcohol. Now it will puddle along the corners or in the edges of your paper, and that's okay, because we can actually take like a paper towel or a Kleenex or whatever, and actually dry those off, or you can take your heat gun and dry that off. Okay, so this is what I have so far, and you're going to notice that as it sits, it's going to get it's going to change. Okay, and I'm going to show you something else in just a minute, so let's just put that to the side for half a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this element here that I've already die cut for us. I'm going to bring in excuse me, the painted lavender, and I'm going to use the stem and the lavender and the flowers. Oh, sorry, not that stem. I want this stem. I'll show you what we're going to do here. Okay, I'm going to put my stamp on. I'm going to use my old olive. So I think once you actually see this technique done and you've played with it, it's going to open your eyes to so many possibilities. Okay. I need to bring my Stamp and Scrub back into my room. I took them out to the kitchen to wash them. I keep forgetting to bring them back. Okay. So we have that. And then I'm going to bring in my lavender. I think I'll take Highland Heather first. Oops. Now, remembering my ink pads like to be a little bit sassy for some reason. And I'm not getting a ton of color on them anymore. I do think it's a temperature in this room, but okay, so push that down. Okay, it's very light, this color anyway, to begin with. Just looking for my Stampin' list. Okay, so I'm just cleaning off my stamp. And then I will bring in, so that was the Highland Heather I used. Now I'll bring in Gorgeous Grape. So we'll need that. And then we'll get back to the card. The technique, because that's what you're here for, right? Okay. And then, oops, I'm going to use Gorgeous Grape. And again, I'm pushing pretty hard on my Gorgeous Grape ink pad because it's kind of dry. And I'm going to put this on top. Oops, that moved on me. That's okay. Nobody's the wiser. Okay. There we go. Put that there. To the side. Now, let's go back and take a look at my technique. So this is dry. So you see how quick that dries. So it does absorb right into the vellum. So now, if I bring in my aqua painter and I put this into the alcohol, I'm just going to tap. Okay, and what this is doing, and you won't see it very much now because it's we don't have the white behind it yet. But once I get the white behind it, you'll see this actually makes it look like raindrops on it. Okay, and you can do as little or as much of this as you want. I'm doing quite a bit because this one is very, it's very light. You don't have to do this water drop portion. Okay, so now I'm going to do, make sure that's all dry. See that? Raindrops. Okay, let's put the white behind it. Let's see if we can help us out here. So the white kind of acts as kind of almost like a stained glass type of a look. Okay. Now the key here is that because we're working with vellum, we only want like a drop of glue in each corner. You can use a glue dot for this. A little bit in the middle. Because vellum you will see, right? So we don't need a lot of glue because you will see it through the vellum. So we just want to go ahead and put this down. Okay. And then we will, see how pretty this is? Oh my gosh. Okay. And then we're going to put the glue. And people ask me all the time, is that really how much glue you actually use? Yes, that is how much glue I actually use. Use a lot less than most people, I think. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. And then this, my friends, will go here, and I need to put a bow there. Okay. So this one's a very, very simple card on purpose because it's about the technique. It's not about the stamps on this one, right? Okay, so now I've got our linen thread, which if you don't have this linen thread, oh my gosh, why not? I'm finding I use it on everything now. For a long time I didn't. Now I absolutely love it. Okay, so I'm going to use my glue dot. And I'm going to find my glue dot here. I'm going to place it right where I want my linen thread to go. Put that back in the box, put that back in its house. And place that right there. Okay, and of course I'm going to have to put some gems on that. So let's go grab those. Oh, and my take your pick tool. Oh, there. I was like, I know I have one started. Here we go. My take your pick tool is out. There we go. Okay. Card number 1. You see how quick that was, right? Let's put the inside our card. So the real trick here is you want to make sure that your alcohol is not anywhere you're going to spill it. That's definitely a key. There you go. Okay, card number 1. Let's do another one. Let's do 3 today. Like, why the heck not? Let's just do 3. All right, so let's do another one. So this one here, I'm going to actually use this embossed piece. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my vellum. Actually, that was kind of silly. That's not what I want to do. I actually want to use this here, and this will go on top here. Sorry, I was thinking of something completely different. Okay, let's just put that to the side. Okay, let's use our vellum. So this one I am using Dark Bermuda Bay. Is that even a color? I don't think that's a dark. Oh, that's not even a color. Oh, my apologies. Anyway, I'm using it. So Bermuda Bay. It's the color I grabbed, so that's what I'm using. Don't anybody, like, freak out on me. Okay, I'm going to use Berry Burst. This is the dark Berry Burst. That is definitely a color. So now the really cool thing is, I'm going to show you, is that you can actually, like, do these and then cut them out in different shapes, too. And then this one I'm using is Dark Tahitian Tide, which is one of our in colors. So it's really cool to see the different color combinations and to see how they turn out. All right, let's get our aqua painter here. Okay, we have our alcohol. Let's go with the Bermuda Bay first, seeing as that's not even technically a color. That was kind of silly of me. So you don't want to skimp on the alcohol here, right? Be very, very generous with your alcohol. Let's go with the Bermuda Bay next. And make sure you're cleaning in between. Otherwise, you will end up with yuckies. Okay, so just kind of moving it around. But you'll see as the alcohol starts to kind of kick in, kind of what ends up happening. Okay, so just kind of mixing. My biggest thing is I always forget to clean in between. It's always my... So if you kind of like tap it, I guess, you kind of get a whole different look. Again, trying not to mix your colors. Kind of trying more to encourage it to like fill in. Here, like that. And again, I can go back once this is dry and I'm happy with it or not happy with it and add more. Okay, so you can see here I'm kind of getting that. And every time I do this technique, I get a totally different look, even though I'm trying to get the same look. I don't ever get the same look twice, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I'm just going to clean off my glass mat here very quickly. So it will seep off the sides. That's okay. We're fine with that. So I'm going to take my aqua painter and I'm going to splatter this. I love, love, love the splatter effect. I think it just kicks this really... I think it just kicks it up a notch. Sorry, all of a sudden I just had a panic that this was not recording. I looked in it. I thought it was not recording. So you can take a very, very simple type of a color combination and kick it up with the splatter. Okay, so now, again, I'm keeping this one very high level. Cards are going to be super simple on these ones, friends, because we don't want them to be extravagant. It takes away from the whole technique. So let's just go ahead and, ooh, what the heck happened to this glue? Okay, that's weird. Okay. Again, not using a ton of glue, right? Because we want to make sure that we can't see it. And I'm going to show you at the end, the ones that we did in class. And show you how you can cut shapes out, and just kind of a couple tricks on that one. So again, I'm just very lightly touching. Okay, very cool, very cool. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm gonna take my bone folder. So I'm using Berry Burst as the base color on this one. How fun that is. Oh my gosh. Every time I do these cards, I'm telling you, I love them. Love, love, love them. I could do this technique 100 times over and still not get sick of it. It's just one of those things, right? All right, let's go ahead and put that one down. You can see it's dry, right? Like, it dries very quickly. Now, if you're very impatient and you've got way too much, you can take your paper towel and, you know, kind of dabble it if you want. But again, you don't have to. Or you can take your heat gun and dry. But again, you don't have to. Oops. I'm just going to grab some elements here. See what I have to put on here. These are ones that I've cut out from before. Let me go with this one. And I'm going to do a nice happy birthday one on this one. Just going to hold that down. It feels like it's not staying. Let's see if I can get this happy birthday in here. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's see. I'm using my glass mat. Line that up. Use some Berry Burst. Okay. I'm going to bring this in. Hold my breath. It's going to go off a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So now, let me just go ahead, clean this off. Do need to really bring my Stampin' Scrub in here. This is not cutting it. See, it doesn't get into all the little grooves like my Stampin' Scrub does. So if you don't know what the Stampin' Scrub is, it's a tool, or I guess it's a tool, that we use to clean our stamps. And it conditions the stamps and gets into all those little nooks and crannies so that we can make these beautiful. Okay, now let's use our dimensionals. stilettos, stilts. They're called stilts. And so you can see by the color combination how different this is, right? There we go. So super, super simple. So your cards don't have to be extravagant. Okay, that's 2. Let's do number 3. All right, so our last one that we're going to do is probably my favorite. It's the one I did post the video of, or the picture of. Let's do this one. Okay, here is our vellum. This one, I'm going to use Pretty Peacock, my absolute favorite color. My Pretty Peacock marker has been damaged though, which is disappointing. Okay, so Pretty Peacock. I'm going to use Moody Mauve. And again, experiment with different shapes. So like do some flower type thing or some zigzags or those kind of things. And then the last one I'm using is the Wild Wheat, which I know is not a color people love. I think you either love it or you hate it. I think there's more haters than there is lovers. That's okay. I think it has its place. Okay, so there we go. Now, where's my brush? Let's use this one. Here we go. I'm going to go in with Pretty Peacock first. So you really want to play around with the color combination, because you might be surprised at when you do the pattern. Use the different colors. There might be ones that you think, I don't know about that one. But then once they dry, they look totally, they continue to change. That was kind of the words that we heard during the class was like, oh, it's drying, but it's still changing. So don't get too jumping on the gun to change it or add more. Just let it do its thing and dry. And then you can decide from that point if you want to add more. Do you want to add more marker or add more alcohol to kind of dilute it a little bit? It's so cool. This is honestly, it's an old it's not an old technique. It's been around for a few years, so it's not like it's a brand new, I just came up with this technique. There is not. If you go on Google, no, not on Google. Don't go on to the Google. Go on to the YouTube, Pinterest. You'll see tons of paper crafters doing this technique. Not a new technique by any means. But it's one that you forget about, right? So, just careful inhaling the alcohol too, because it can get kind of strong. Okay. See how that's kind of, so it will continue to spread and do its thing. Which is fine. And I will take my baby wipe here. Just clean that all off. And of course, you know I'm going to do splatter on this one. And I'll show you the cards that we did. So yeah, I encourage you to play with this. Post your pictures on my page. I'd love to see what you did. I'm doing a lot of splatter on this one. Maybe I should stop. Okay, let's stop. Stop. Okay. See how cool that looks? I know on camera it probably doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot, but honestly in person it's amazing. Okay, so now this is going to go underneath there. So then let's start to build our card here. Well, that's taken a second to dry. I'm going to do some stamping on this little label here. So this label is actually from this stamp set here, Thoughtful Expressions. And I love this one. You know me, being a font snob and all. So I'm going to say you're in my thoughts today. And you knew I'm going to do it in Pretty Peacock. Because if you follow me, you know my favorite color is Pretty Peacock. Okay. So this ink pad is very juicy. So very light touch. There we go. Okay. Let's try and get my stamp clean. Okay. Now let's build the card. There you go. It's pretty much dry. Little spots on there maybe. Take my adhesive. I'm gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Again, just tapping that on there just for a second. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Okay. So if you're using Tombow, you don't need a lot of glue. Remember that. Oh my gosh. Every time I do this card, it's more and more beautiful. I'll show you the cards that we did. Okay, I'm going to put a Moody Mauve, excuse me, strip right across. This could be ribbon, this could be paper, it can be whatever you want. Again, I don't want to use a lot on these cards because I want the paper, like the technique, to be the star of the show, right? A couple dimensionals. Here. Da, 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 da. I feel like my camera is, oops, sorry. I feel like my camera is a little bit blurry today. Sorry. My apologies for that. There it goes. Okay. Now that we're done, I decided to fix that. Okay. So here's 3. Here's 2. And here's 1. So in 33 minutes, I was able to do 3 super quick cards. Let me show the other ones that we did. So this was the one that we did in class. We did that one a couple times. This is the one we did originally. This was my original card. I did it in the Wild Wheat. And here I actually made like my own little flag here. I don't know if you can see that where I bent the sides. And then I talked about maybe cutting out the shapes. If I can find the card, I'll show you what we did with that one. So this one, originally, I didn't like how the background turned out. So I thought, well, I don't want to throw it out. So I actually just took my stitch shapes and cut out 3 circles. Now, the trick to this is that when you go to cut them out, cut them with the white behind it. So then that way you're cutting both pieces at the same time. Okay, so it's just working smarter, not harder. And then, yeah, I just put some dimensionals on them and awesome, right? So you can cut all sorts of shapes out. You don't have to use them as straight backgrounds. I just like them like this because I feel like they look different and people think it's actual paper and you're like, oh, I made that. Like, I made that. Isn't there TikTok sound like that. I made that, and I made that, and I made that, right? So anyway, I hope you enjoyed those. Again, not something I generally do is to actually show you cards that I have done in classes. But I like this one, and I think everybody can take advantage of this one. So if you decide to do the technique, I would love for you to post your pictures of your completed cards. Share them with our friends, and I hope you enjoy it. And I will post all the supplies that you need as well throughout the video, so then that way you have it so that you can create your own. All right, thanks for joining me. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and stay tuned for more videos. Take care. Bye-bye.